So I'm going to start this little rally of ours with some words that I want you to stay with. When I won my race of mayor, I asked the beautiful poet Annette Billings to help do a poem that would really exemplify how I feel and I wanted to lead. Luckily, she had already written it. And it says, "What you allow lingers. What you invite stays." Oops. Give me just a second. It died. It's just not saying it.
And all lingers. What you allow lingers, and what you invite stays put. So speak rudely to discord and its sullen sisters. Turn a cold shoulder to prejudice in all its disguises. Ignore the doorbell when envy arrives, and stop sorrow at the door like a stranger. Usher in joy like a long-lost friend. Take its coat, its hat. Entertain peace. Chat up passion. Pamper generosity. Give justice the guest room. And make your life poorly suited for anything but goodness. Sweep the porch and place a welcome mat out for love. And when hate knocks, act like you've moved.
And when hate knocks, act like you've moved. What you allow lingers. What you invite stays. And what we're doing here today is saying that we are not allowing hate to stay in our community, that we are not allowing division to enter our country. There is a reason that we're standing here right now today. There is a reason why our team chose strategically to be right here in front of the history that we are never to forget. I was told that this was probably going to be one of the nastiest election cycles that I've ever seen. What I didn't think was that if I acted with dignity, humility, and respect and integrity, I thought that people would actually follow. Because if you don't feel like you're going to be attacked in your character, you would not do that to somebody else. Well, I think we all know that I was wrong. And we keep trying to drive in this state, in this nation, this narrative that we are to be away from each other, that we are to forget the history that defines us. Well, let's say something. Topeka will never forget who we are. Topeka will never forget the history that is upon our shoulders. And even though there is still a lot of work to be done, we are still a home and a state that has always stood on the right side of history. The state of Kansas is one of the few states that has 3 women governors. The state of Kansas was the place where the first woman mayor across the country was ever from. The state of Kansas is not just the home of Brown v. Board. The state of Kansas, right over there, right behind this building, had the Ritchie House, which was the Underground Railroad. The state of Kansas in the city of Topeka is the home of the Exodusters. We will not forget who we are. Because at the root of every single thing that I have mentioned is one core value. And that one core value is the value of dignity for humans. It's the dignity for you as an individual, regardless of the color of your skin. Regardless, because you could sit wherever on the bus. Because Kansas has said that you can. Because you can study wherever you want to study. Because Kansas said that you can. And this year, we're going to make history by sending 2 more women to represent us in D.C. when we elect both Barbara Bollier and we bring me to Congress with you. Because the lies will not persist. The lies will not be successful. We are tired. We demand more. We demand better. And we demand that rather than talking about other people, we talk about ideas and we talk about the issues at hand. We're all standing outside in freezing weather because there is a virus that has permeated our country that has not been managed well. And it has taken over 220,000 souls of this country, Americans. Americans were taken because our leadership refuses till this day to treat the virus with respect and refuses to acknowledge its part. This virus is both a health and an economic issue. And we need leadership that will accept the science, leadership that will accept the responsibility, and leadership that will work with everybody across the aisle. Because make no mistake, last I checked, this virus is neither a Democrat or a Republican. And neither are the masks. I have been offered masks that are beautiful with our logo, and I have said no, because I refuse to be part of the political narrative that says that this virus is political. Lives are not political. Ideas are. And it's okay. What makes this country great is the ability that we could have different ideas. And it's okay for us to express them. But where's the kindness? We cannot continue talking about our liberties without understanding the responsibility that we have to each other, which is why I'm so grateful that all of you are here with your mask, respecting each other and giving each other the biggest value of all, which is love. That's what we have to get back to. We have to love each other enough to say this virus has to be dealt with, and our economy cannot continue suffering. We have to love each other enough to say that if we see our black brothers and sisters getting harmed, we have to love them enough to say something's not right. And that doesn't mean that it's a one or the other. It doesn't mean that I don't love my police officers. Mike Fadilla, who's right here, and I'm sorry that I'm calling you out, is one of my mentors. His lifelong service to this city as a police officer is nothing less than noble. The same with Tobias. Guess what? Everybody's saying he doesn't like the police. He's a chaplain for the police department. Because we love our police officers, and because we want something better for them and for us. The value is safety. Don't ever let yourself be fooled into the one or the other narrative. We have to love each other enough to understand that our farmers are struggling. They're not able to sell their crops or their cattle for a value of the price that it took for them to take care of it. Because we entered into negotiations that went south, and we never once considered expanding the trade lines for our farmers. And that we stand celebrating, oh yeah, no, we are doing things right. No, the deficit keeps growing. And by the way, if you're going to talk about deficits, let's talk about they really are. It's an economic term. Countries have different things that they're good at, and they trade. But for some reason, the narrative in this country in the last few years has been that one thing is good and the other is bad, when we're forgetting the fact that we're dealing with people and issues that matter to people. We cannot continue in this route. And I brought you all here to remember that we can still stand. Even when it's scary, even when it's difficult, for the right thing. That we are called every single day to party, to paint outside of the party line. Because in the end, the parties don't matter. It doesn't matter what party you're from. It only matters that you're a human and that most of our people are struggling. We have our children. We're right in front of a school. Our children locally are struggling to keep with school because they don't have access to the internet. And whereas in the rural communities it's an issue of infrastructure, in our local community it's an issue of being able to afford it. And we should not be struggling with that. The same way that you and your family members should never have to struggle with paying your bills because you're taking care of your health. I've heard of so many people that are telling me that they forego their medication. I was one of them. Because they can't afford it. Yeah, we have the ability to negotiate that at the federal level, and we're choosing not to. Why? Because the people that we're electing are being paid on by the industry. That's why I am not taking a cent of corporate dollars. I actually returned the check that I received to say thank you so much for your support, but I can't. Because the only people that are going to tell me how to vote when I'm in the halls of Congress is you, not a corporation. It's time that we remember that, like Lincoln said, this government was made by the people, for the people. Let's reclaim back the values that make our country what it was. A country that looks at our neighbor in pain and says, here's my hand, let me help you up. A country that says, bring me your tired, and says, I will wrap you up in a coat and help you and feed you until you get back on your feet. That's who we are. And this election, this is what's at stake. It's not about sending ugly flyers of my friend that are senseless and don't talk about the issues. It's not about creating campaigns of fear and division. And if you notice, I'm talking about the issues that matter to us: education, health, the economy, and the virus. And the one thing that you will not hear me do is talk ill about my opponent, because it shouldn't matter. What matters is the issues and how we want to represent you.